Bank-owned wholesale type deals is the easiest stuff in the world, guys. It's certainly something that I recommend that you do in your home market. It can be done virtually, but in this class, I want to stress right off the bat that I am not really presenting this information in a virtual type format. I don't bank-owned wholesaling. I don't want you to think that I'm trying to tell you how to do bank-owned properties in any market, every market across the country. And also, I want to stress that this is not some kind of a easy way out, okay? I don't want you to think this is an easy way out, because it's not an easy way out. It's simple. It really is. It's very, very simple, but that does not mean that it's easy, okay? Do not get those two concepts confused. It is simple, and I'm going to show you how simple it is, but it's not necessarily easy. It's not the easy way out. And the reason why I say that is because you will still have to analyze properties. You're still not, you're not going to get out of that, okay? You're still going to have to make offers, and in good numbers, okay? It's not a hey, I found one, bing, 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 I'm on, okay? No, you have to make multiple offers to get to the yeses, just like in regular ugly house wholesaling with for sale by owners, okay? So you're still going to have to do that. You're also going to have some other things put in place, some tools in your real estate wholesaler's toolkit in order to pull off bank-owned wholesaling. It's not something that you can just willy-nilly put together. You have to have a plan, and you have to have some tools together in your toolbox in order to do this. Now, even though I've said all of those things, the fact of the matter still is, this is one of my favorite techniques for real estate wholesaling. And the reason why I have it as one of my favorites is because it is literally one of the easier techniques to outsource nearly 100% of. Once you establish your flow and your momentum in your business for doing bank-owned wholesaling, it is one of the easier things, easier techniques to outsource to other people to complete an entire wholesaling transaction. In other words, there are wholesaling bank-owned property deals that me and my team do that I can tell you what I've outsourced. I have outsourced the property analysis, okay, and the lead getting and the property analysis or analyzing those leads. I have outsourced making of the offers. Okay, the only thing I do is sign the offer, and that's sent directly to my email through Dotloop or something like that, so I don't have to even do wet signatures. Okay, so all I do is just open up an email and hit sign. So I don't do much in the property acquisition department. I have outsourced that completely. When it comes to buyers, I have outsourced my buyer marketing. That is letting my buyers know that I have this property deal under contract. I've outsourced that. I have buyers that call. Now, here's where I also get involved. I could outsource this, but I choose not to. And the reason why is because I like it, okay? I just like doing this. I like to talk to the buyers when they call. So I'll talk to the buyers and I'll tell them how to access the property, but I could easily outsource that. And you can see how easily outsourced that would be. All right, so this is one of the easiest techniques to outsource nearly 100%, if not 100% of that there is in the real estate wholesaling game. So that is why it is one of my favorites. Bank-owned wholesaling is very, very simple, the concept. The bank owns the property. That's why it's called bank-owned wholesaling, right? The bank owns the property, and because the bank owns the property, you're going to have to deal with the bank and their representatives, and they always have a realtor. So you're going to have to make your offers through a realtor. Once you do that, you're going to have to source your buyer and do another couple other things, and we're going to get into those here in just a few minutes. Guys, I'm just coming out of a closing here in my market area, It's a double close. I had to actually show up and sign some documents today, and it's always a joy to do that. I just want to let you know, hey guys, if I can do this, you can do this. Anybody can do this. So, you know, if you set your mind to it and you work at developing just a few skills, it's all possible. So anyway, you know, I'm here to help you, and I want to help you. And if you haven't been to realestatewholesalersclub.com, then you need to go there, because that's where all the free training is. And I'm talking about agreements, everything you need to get started in real estate investing. Okay, as a real estate wholesaler, whether that's ugly house wholesaling, or whether you want to do pretty house wholesaling, or bank-owned wholesaling, or co-wholesaling, it's all there, okay? And there are some great free training modules to get you started with agreements and everything you need to get going the right way. The free Facebook group is there. There's a lot of great people there to help you and to answer questions anytime, night or day. And of course, you know, I'm on that group every single day. Hey guys, I really appreciate you watching, and we'll talk to you soon. Let's get back to the show. Now, we're getting started. So everybody follow along step by step with me through these, and we'll help you, you know, get that confidence you need to make the choices to do bank-owned wholesaling. Because I'll be honest with you, I was a little intimidated at first myself, but after having done so many now, I'm very, very happy with it. Now you can see the players in a bank-owned wholesaling deal. There are some players that you cannot control. Okay, these are not in your control. These are the other players. All right. Now, first off, there's the seller. Now, that guy is the bank. Now, it might be a number of different banks, and I've seen a lot of different banks. And there's a lot of banks I've never even heard of that I've made offers to buy their properties. It's always a bank, of some kind of financial institution. And I'm assuming that they came by way of this property through a foreclosure. That would be my guess. Okay. But for whatever reason, the bank owns this property. All right. Now, the funny thing about banks is banks do not ever do business just alone. They don't do business just as banks. Okay. They always hire a realtor broker. Okay. Hey, Billy, good to see you. Hey, Dave, Usman, good to see you guys. So the bank will always hire a broker in town. Okay. Now, what they'll do is they may switch around, but they'll find a broker that they like, and one that moves properties, and one that they can get along with well. And then they'll choose that broker, and they'll use that broker many times over and over and over and over again. That means literally a broker in your market area is getting potentially hundreds and hundreds of potential wholesale deals in a year. Okay, potentially. Now, every marketplace is different, and every bank is different, and every broker is different, but those brokers are getting the deals. The banks are not calling wholesalers. Okay, did you hear me? They're not going to respond to your marketing. Okay, they're not going to call your bandit signs, right? They're not going to respond to a postcard that you sent over to the bank manager. Okay, they will not do it. They always 100% of the time, to my knowledge, always use a broker. Okay, now that broker is not alone either. He has realtors that work for him, underneath him, in his brokerage, under his broker license, so to speak. I'm not a realtor, so if I mess up the jargon, I have to apologize. Now, those realtors and that broker, they want to work. Rosalind says I'm correct, so I'm going to take your encouragement, Rosalind. All right. Now, the broker has realtors, and they all have one objective, and that is to please the bank and to continue getting. Okay, listen to me carefully. I'm not just talking BS here. They have an objective. and that is to please the bank and to make the bank feel like they're winning and selling these properties. Okay, when this broker and his realtors sell these properties, they want the bank to be happy and to feel like they won. Okay, and to feel like the process was smooth and easy and as painless as possible. To require as little effort and thought from the bank administrators as possible. Okay, that is their mindset. All right, but at the same time, they also know they need to find a buyer. All right, now these bank-owned properties sometimes go by various names. Sometimes they're just called bank-owned. Sometimes they're called REO, which means real estate owned by a bank. Okay, REO. Sometimes you'll hear somebody say that's a Fannie house, that's a Freddie house, that's a HUD house. Okay, that's a foreclosure. Okay, most of the time what they're saying is hey, the bank owns that house. And they're either looking for a retail buyer or they've moved into looking for an investor. Okay, they've opened it up for investors to make offers. So now, don't you really want to get to know the broker, right? That controls the deals, that gets these deals from the bank on a regular routine basis? Yes, you do. That's the answer. Yes, I do, Justin. I want to get to know that broker. Now, there's also another player, and that is the seller's title company. So to answer some of your questions, will I need to find a title company? Will I need to pick a title company? The answer to that question initially is no. Because the seller, the bank, will always have a broker and a realtor, and they will always have already picked a title company. That's been my experience, okay? So you don't have to worry about those players because they are already set in place. So these are the things that are already set in place, and you can easily get your property deals from these brokers if you learn how to get a hold of them and talk to them. Okay, let's take a look at the rest of the players in bank-owned wholesaling. We're talking about you. So you have so far a bank that owns a property. They want to sell that property. They hired a broker. They sent the deal to the broker. The broker, he sicked his realtors out on finding a buyer. So now he's got it on the MLS and his realtors are trying to sell that property. Okay. Now, here comes wholesaler. Here comes you, the wholesaler. Now, remember, when we wholesale properties, we're not trying to act like realtors. We are acting as buyers. Okay? We are actually acting as buyers. So we are not trying to come in here and represent some other buyer. We are trying to act as buyers. So we are going to talk as buyers. We are going to smile as buyers. We are going to think as buyers and act like buyers in front of them. Because that's what we are. Okay? Now, who cares that we're going to wholesale that deal off? That's another part of this. That comes later. Right now, we're just buyers. Okay? So you, the wholesaler, acting as a buyer. Now, there's another player. It's a transactional lender. A transactional lender. What is a transactional lender? We're going to talk about that more here in just about 3 minutes. But there will need to be a transactional lender, and that transactional lender will need to provide you with their proof of funds. Okay, so if you're starting to wonder, hey, how am I going to make this deal work? I don't have a proof of funds, and I've heard in order to do bank-owned wholesaling, you always have to have a proof of funds. And the answer to that question is yes. You always have to have a proof of funds. But your transactional lender in the equation should be able to provide you with this proof of funds. Okay, you are also going to need to bring your end buyer. These are the other players. Now, the first page that we were talking about, you can't really control those players. You can't control the bank. You can't control the broker or who it is or what they do. You can't control the realtor. You can't control that they've already picked a title company and that's where they want to stick. Okay, that happens. It doesn't always happen, but most of the time they like sticking there. Okay, now you can control these players. Okay, and you will need to bring a transactional lender. All right, now that transactional lender will have a proof of funds. You will also need to bring your buyer. All right, now here is what makes bank-owned wholesaling vastly different than regular ugly house wholesaling. I'm going to show you on the screen right now. All right. Do you see that? No assignments allowed. That's it. That's the way it works. There are no assignments allowed. I have never, okay, maybe one time I was allowed to do an assignment on a bank-owned property, but it wasn't yesterday, okay? It wasn't yesterday. So this has been the way that it has been for quite a while now. Banks will not allow you to enter into a purchase and sale agreement with them as a buyer and then have an assignment agreement assigning that purchase and sale agreement to your buyer. They won't allow it. They will not allow it. Why will they not allow it? I really couldn't say for sure. But I think it has something to do with their allegiance to their broker and his realtors. Okay, I'm not certain. That's my guess as an ignorant outsider. Okay, not having a realtor's license or working with a broker. Okay, I don't really know. But I do know that the fact is they will not do assignments 99.89% of the time. Okay? What they will allow and what is legal when done properly in every state. Okay, so if you're sitting in Ohio and you're worried, if you're sitting in Texas, okay, and you're worried, all right, if you're sitting in, some other state and you're wondering, I don't know if this is legal here, the answer to that question, and I'm not an attorney, I'm not trying to give you legal advice, but what I'm telling you is that I have read and I have heard and I have been told that it is legal in all 50 states to do a double escrow closing if it is done properly. Boom. I said it. So you can do it anywhere you want to do it. You need to do it, but you need to do it properly. A double escrow close is the only option that you have. You cannot make an assignment work. So for bank-owned wholesaling, wad up and throw away the assignment agreement because it's not going to be accepted here. They make you do a double escrow close. That is the only way a wholesale deal will work with bank-owned properties. Okay, are you following me? All right. I know you are, and I know it feels like I'm baby stepping you through this, but you have to understand the foundation of how these things are put together, or you'll be asking way many questions in step 2 and 3. Okay, so they will not allow assignments, only double escrow closes. All right. Double escrow closings are not difficult. but they take some preparation, okay? They take preparation. So if you don't put in the proper preparation, you might be needing preparation H. All right, so don't try to skip into step 2 and 3 without doing the homework, okay? That's the point. You got to do the homework. And I'm going to lay it out real simple for you what it is. In order to do bank-owned wholesaling, you have to prepare yourself. You have to get the tools necessary to complete the transaction, because you will not have enough time in the middle of the transaction to get it all together. You won't have enough time. Listen to me. I promise you, I have made this mistake. I have waited until I was in the middle of a transaction, looking at a closing date, staring at me dead in the eye. And I was like, okay, I don't know who a transactional lender is going to be, but I know I need one. I've got 3 days. Don't do that. Don't do it. If it blows up in your face because you didn't prepare yourself, you can't say, I didn't warn you. Now that's the end of the rant. All right. You can't say, I didn't warn you. I totally did. I'll let you know. You got to be prepared. And these double escrow closes are not difficult. What's up, Cameron? They're not difficult. They're simple, but they're not necessarily easy. They will be easy once you get what you have to pull one off. Okay. Now, what that is somebody mentioned earnest money. Earnest money. Yes, you're going to need some earnest money. Okay. Now, how much earnest money are you going to need? Well, before I say that, let's back up and start with number 1. That's a great question. And it worries a lot of people because they're like, hey, I don't have a lot of money to invest in this. How do I minimize my expenses on earnest money? Well, you can do it. You can do it. Here's your homework. Here's the first thing that you're going to need to do. You're going to need to find a transactional lender before you find the broker, okay? Before you find the property. See, everybody wants to skip right to get that dang property deal. I got me a property down. I know what I've got. Okay, now, but you don't have the tools to pull off the close, okay? So hold your horses, pull the reins back a little bit, Sally, okay? And step by step with me. First, you're going to have to find a transactional lender. Okay. How do you find a transactional lender? I will tell you, I found a transactional lender. I simply called my favorite title company guy. My favorite title company guy. The one that everybody recommends. The one that everybody loves. The one that I like. The guy who answers my phone calls when I call or he calls me back. The guy who's willing to answer my dumb questions. I call that guy. And if you don't have that guy, see, then again, this is a more advanced technique. I called my title company guy, and he said, hey, here's the guy doing the deals in town that I know of. Here's a transactional lender. Here's his name. Do you want me to see if I can get him to call you? Okay, that's how it happened for me. Okay, another way that I have found a transactional lender is I went to the largest Facebook group for real estate in my market area, and I simply posted, does anyone know of a transactional lender willing to help close a solid buyer on a wholesale deal? It was something like that. I don't know. Put it in your own words. Ask and you shall receive. Yes. People started saying, yep. This guy, that guy, I can do it. He can do it. She can do it. We can do it. Everybody does it. So let's get it done. And yep, sure enough, those are great transactional lenders. Now, I see some comments flying up in here. One is called Best Transactional Funding. Yep, that's the one that pulled up on Google. When you type into Google, transactional lender, it pops up right here on the screen. So you can take a look at that one. I have never personally used that one. I thought this was an interesting thing. Google shows us transactional funding is a form of short-term hard money lending which allows a wholesaler the opportunity to purchase a property with none of your funds, provided that you have already placed an end buyer to purchase the property from the wholesaler within a short time frame, usually 2 to 5 days. Now, guys, gals, if it's going to be longer than 2 to 5 days, it's no longer called a transactional lender. Okay? It's not a transactional loan. If it's going to take longer to close the double escrow, both sides, than 2 to 5 days, it's not really a transactional loan. It becomes what's called a bridge loan. Okay? So time is of the essence. See, that's why you don't want to dilly-dally with these and try to get the tools in your toolbox midstream, because you don't have that kind of time to kill. Line up the transactional lender now. Okay? Have a conversation with him now. Get that proof of funds from him now, because you're going to need that to make your offer anyway. All right? And next week, we're going to talk about how to find brokers, how to find bank-owned properties, and then we're going to start talking about how to make offers on them. Okay? And there is some special nuances to making offers on bank-owned properties. It's too much to get into all in one session. That's why we're breaking this down into 4 weeks. All right? Now, you don't have enough time in the middle of one of these transactions to go find all these people, and they don't have enough time to do the things that they do. Okay? You need to let them know now. I'm doing some deals with some banks. Can you transactional loan me? Yes. Okay, great. What are you going to need? And how does this work? Okay, it's not based on your credit, by the way. All right? It's not based on that. It's based on the deal. All right? It's based on your buyer bringing cash to close, right? Or their own private funds. Okay? It's based on the data involved in the transaction, not so much the wholesaler. Okay? Now, you start stretching out past that 2 to 5 day mark, and you're probably going to start seeing, other things, other requests and requirements of you. Can we do this in our own name? Absolutely, you can do this in your own name. I would recommend doing it in your own name once or twice before you buy an LLC, just so you can pay for it with money from the business, okay? But you can see here on the same Google page, I'm just going to scroll down a little bit. You can see there is just all kinds of people that you can talk to about transactional lending, right? And you're going to want to get a relationship and a word over the phone or over email that, yeah, we do this and it's real simple and this is the process and this is how long it takes us and this is what we require of you from the deal. And this is what it costs, right? You remember I just told you I just closed a $10,000 assignment fee on a bank-owned wholesale deal, but I ended up giving $3,000 of that to the deal because double closes cost money. They're not easy, quick assignments. So you have to remember you're going to end up paying closing costs, not just for one side, two sides, two closings, plus you're going to end up paying your transactional lender his profits. All of that comes out of the assignment fee, so you're okay. Now that transactional lender will need to give you his proof of funds right there. That solves the proof of funds problem. When a bank, when you make an offer to the bank and they say, okay, we need proof of funds, there you go. All right, problem solved. If you get in the middle of making offers and you don't have a transactional lender yet, then you don't have proof of funds. And you are already running out of time. The minute that they say yes to your offer, the clock starts, go. You have 10 days. I'm telling you, you got 10 days. And we're going to talk more about that and how you structure your offer and pull this off next week. But you're working on a limited amount of time. This isn't a 30 to 45 day deal here. This is I need to find a buyer and a transactional lender to move these papers around. And all this needs to happen in less than 10 days. All right. Earnest money. Somebody asked, how do I get around having to have all this money? It's real simple. You can't. You're going to have some kind of earnest money. You can't go with nothing. Okay? You can say $10. You can say $100. But I have found that the banks realistically like $500 and not much less. Okay? Now, remember, you're not talking to Joe Blow homeowner here who just wants out of his property mess. You're talking to the bank who's got that money and they don't care about whatever deal you're trying to do. What is this? What is this, an offer? Oh, the realtor's calling me with an offer today. Ding-a-ding-a-ding, ding-a-ding-a-ding. Hello, realtor. Yeah, this is Mr. Banker Guy. How can I help you today? Oh, that's wonderful news. You've got an offer in on my property. Oh, wonderful. Tell me, what is it? Okay. Well, the purchase price sounds all right. Maybe we're definitely going to counter offer, because we always counter offer. We never take the first offer, do we? But here's what we're going to do: is we're going to counter offer that purchase price for sure. And tell me, they got proof of funds? Okay, they do. Okay, great. Do they have what kind of earnest money are they putting down? $10. What is this, some kind of joke? You want me to tie up this house for 10 days? For 10? Oh, no. Never mind. Hey, I'll tell you what. Require of all buyers to at least 500, or we ain't even going to look at them no more. Click. I've seen it happen. Okay? Do not try to lowball the bank and act all poor. Okay? If you don't have 500, what you do is you offer them 100 now if they accept your offer, and then in 10 days, when your inspection period is over, you will give them the additional 400. That gives you 10 days to find a buyer, plug in your transactional lender, and get that money from the buyer to complete your earnest money. So you're going to need at least $100. Now, guys, the other day I went on the hugest rant of all time on the live show Wednesday. Go back and look. It was called something about get response is all you need. I was going to do a get response demo for Roslyn. Turns out I just went off on a total rant about how you can come up with $100. I don't care who you are. Okay, go around your house and find some shit and sell it on eBay. Done. Okay? You know, everybody in the world got an excuse why they can't be successful. And if it's because you can't come up with $100, then, you know, I'm sorry. Nobody can help you. And I know that sounds mean, but I swear to God, that's the truth. You know what? If you can't come up with $100 to do bank-owned property deals, then you ain't ready for it. You ain't ready for it. All right? If you need to go do you a lease option wholesale deal. I mean, a wholesale lease option deal. Or go do you an ugly house co-wholesale virtual deal. Go get some cash. Go drive Postmates. Go work at McDonald's. Go paint somebody's damn house. Come up with $100. Right? I'm not trying to sell you anything for $100. I'm just saying put some money in the deal. Okay? You guys are throwing out some love. I love you guys too. All right, your proof of funds is coming from your transactional lender. You're going to have to find the transactional lender. Right? That's your homework. Find the transactional lender. Get that proof of funds from him. All right? Also, Come up with $100, guys. Come up with $100. That's it. Don't spend it. Your buyers, send out a little tickler email and say, hey, anybody here interested in buying some of these bank-owned deals I'm getting under contract? Right? And you might be like, well, what happens if they say, what's the address? And just say, hey, listen, man, I'm still negotiating with them, but I'm got offers all out there. You know, I just want to know who's ready. You guys don't get nervous in the service. These people are easy to deal with. Relax a little bit. Relax. It's just real estate. Just real estate. So get your buyers ready. Get them buyers ready. All right, that's your homework. Find a transactional lender. Get that proof of funds. Get $100 in earnest money. And get them buyers ready. Get them buyers ready. Yep. Next week, when we get together next week, you should have a transactional lender in your pocket. If you don't, you'll be falling behind. You should also have his proof of funds with your name on it. You should also have $100 for earnest money. And you should have buyers. Alifas lost in the sauce. What sauce is that? What sauce is that? All right. Next week, we're talking about how to get these deals. You're going to have to talk to brokers. You're going to have to do some marketing. You're going to have to do something. I'm going to tell you exactly how to do it. I'm going to show you several ways. The first way is going to be like,
hey, ugly house wholesalers. When you get tired of ugly house wholesaling, try pretty house wholesaling. These are literally everywhere. I bet you've got a few pretty houses for sale on your street. Let's talk soon.